Today's episode of Voiced is from r/Petty Revenge and is about a retaliatory sibling defending their 18-year-old sister and a determined worker standing their ground against a demanding customer. What happens when the tables are turned? Subscribe if you enjoy.
This happened over 6 years ago, so I'm a little fuzzy on all of the details, but it is one of my proudest moments. I am 8 years older than my sister, and although we didn't live in the same town anymore by the time she graduated high school, I was so excited for her to attend university because she applied for the same program as I did, and knowing her, she was going to absolutely excel in a way I never could. I am shy, awkward, and overall non-confrontational. She is fierce, charming, and never backs down from a fight. Our brother in the middle is a perfect mix between these traits. When she told me she was traveling down south for a conference related to a potential major, I believe, I was really excited for her. This conference also had a career fair, and it was going to be the first one she'd attended. I gave her some advice about how to present herself. She had her resumes and some companies in mind, and I knew she was going to do great. Cue to the day after, and I get a call from her in distress. So she wasn't sure how a certain networking interaction went and wanted to ask me what I thought. There was a man from a certain company who took great interest in her resume. A freshman, not unheard of, but at this point she had very little experience. So he pulled her aside and wanted to talk to her further. He asked her which hotel she was staying at. She got nervous and said he should take her to dinner that evening. At the same time, this man, who she said looked older than our dad, reached out and stroked a strand of her hair. At this point, she started crying and I saw red. I asked her for this man's name and the company he worked for and told her to avoid that table or company at all costs. I told her she did nothing wrong and he was being extremely inappropriate. I told her to keep a buddy with her while she was still down there, and it was all right. She told me she was scared about talking to other companies in the future. How does she know if they really want her as an employee or if someone is going to be creepy? Also, as this man had her resume, apparently he had texted that he was in front of her hotel and she avoided responding because she was scared. Because of this, she was scared to hand out her resume. I didn't think it was possible for me to be more enraged than I already was. She was 18. First career fair. Already she was terrified of career fairs because of this sleazy old man. Hell no, not my freaking sister. The world will not take her shine. I told her that I would take care of it and hung up. I immediately told my boss that I would need to take the first half of the day for a personal matter. First, I looked up this man's LinkedIn so I could put a face to the rage and disgust I felt. Then I contacted my own company's human resources and asked what the procedure would be if an employee of ours engaged in behavior like this while on company time. She had wonderful advice and urged me to contact this man's company's human resources department as well. So I did. I left a detailed email with what had happened, their employee's name, and the location of the conference and career fair, where he had been representing their company. I left my name and number as well, in case they wanted to know any more details. And I recall getting a call from their human resources department soon afterward, telling me they were taking this seriously and were going to investigate. The woman sounded very sympathetic. She told me that this man was someone that had been with the company for a while and had actually retired, so now he was mainly focused on recruitment for the company, somewhat on a consultant level. I want to say, by early afternoon, I received an email that this man had been let go from the company completely, and they thanked me for my report. The speed at which this all happened lends me to believe this was not the first time. Either that, or his behavior was such a liability, sending a creep to recruitment, that it was easy to just let him go. Let me tell you, that was the most fulfilling cackle I had ever cackled in all my days. I called my sister up and told her the news, and she was amazed. She thanked me, and we talked a little more about what to look out for when networking, that being pulled aside generally is a good thing, but it sucks that this person took advantage of that. I told her not to take this horrible experience as normal because it was not, and emphasized she did nothing wrong. The good news is, 6 years later, she has her bachelor's and master's degree and has a stacked lineup of intern and co-op experience. Think mix of startups and big-name industries, and is currently rocking her career at a meaningful startup in her field. I am still shy, awkward, and relatively non-confrontational, but if you come for my siblings, I go for blood.
Wow, that's truly an inspiring tale of standing up for family, showing that sometimes a quiet demeanor can house a fierce protector. The way you handled that situation with your sister's harasser was remarkable and truly empowering. But it appears that not all confrontations need to be so intense. Sometimes they can arise in the most unexpected places, like a late-night gas station. Now, let's shift gears to a different setting where the tensions might not be as personal, but are certainly no less intense. Picture this. It's late at night, and the calm atmosphere of an overnight gas station is about to be disrupted by a very persistent and entitled customer. Get ready to dive into a tale that showcases what happens when someone tries to bend the rules and encounters an unwavering cashier ready to uphold them.
I'm an overnight cashier at a gas station. Pretty chill most nights. There are a few bad apples as always, but nothing too bad. Every now and then, I'll get an entitled customer that demands I sell them beer without an ID, against state law, wouldn't dream of it, or sell them cigarettes despite being 20. Sorry kids, not happening. One lady though, she really got under my skin. Happened a while back. She comes in around 11:30, so well past time we shut down lottery. We turn off the machine at 10 as per our store regulations. There's a ton of updates the machine undergoes nightly, and it takes 6 to 7 hours. I keep an eye on her and notice she has one of the ball draw style lottery cards in her hand. I call out and explain that our machine is off for the night, so I cannot sell her the tickets. She scoffs loudly and says I'm lying and don't want to do my job. I reiterate that the machine is already undergoing maintenance, so she will have to return at 5 a.m. when the machine is ready for service. She throws the ticket on the ground and stomps to the beer. I'm already annoyed, and in my head, I know I'll make sure my coworker takes care of her next time. I don't want to deal with this drama. She comes back to the counter, beer cans in tow, and slams them onto the counter. I grab one to scan and ask for her identification. The lady once again scoffs and asks if it's really necessary. She has wrinkles older than me. I explain that it's store policy and state law to see identification for alcohol purchases. We go back and forth for 5 minutes. It only ends when I tell her she can either give me the ID so I can do my job, or she can leave beerless and lotteryless. She passes me her ID, face bright red, and the lady just starts going off at this point, saying, I need to lose my job. My manager, whom she called by name, would be so upset to hear how I'm treating a regular. I write my name, my manager's free time for the next day, and tell her she is free to come in and complain about me doing my job. It will go absolutely great for her. She snatches the paper and starts asking me to sell her cigarettes. I tell her I'm not selling her anything else, as she has repeatedly made me uncomfortable, and I have the right to refuse service to anyone for any reason. She leaves screaming that she's going to come back and kick my behind. I leave a long text to my managers in the group chat explaining what happened, along with a description of her. A couple of hours later, some of my regulars come in for their nightly coffees. 2 of the local sheriffs. I give them the rundown of what transpired, and one of them promises to swing through a few times for a few nights to make sure she's not causing trouble. Here's where I get petty. She had parked at the front of the store. I had a perfect view of her license plates, so I took note and waited. The lady shows up 2 nights later and parks by the dumpster. She's standing on the sidewalk for 2 hours waiting for me to come outside. About an hour in, I call the tow service our store uses. I say there's a broken down car in our parking lot in prime parking position, as per rules. Cops come through, as they always do, for coffee, and they ask me if she's the customer harassing me. I confirm it. They go out and talk to her. At this point, the tow truck pulls in. The lady starts walking away from the cops to talk to the driver, confused and upset. I didn't get to hear much of the encounter, but I watched as she got arrested, put in the back of the patrol car, and they waited for the tow truck to finish hauling off her car before leaving. No idea what happened to her. She hadn't come back in, and I didn't get in trouble with management.
Before I dive into today's posts, please consider subscribing for more wild stories. Wow, the first tale is a powerful reminder of the lengths a protective sibling will go to ensuring their loved ones are safe and taken seriously, especially after that terrifying encounter at the career fair. It's so inspiring to see how the sister not only overcame her fear, but also thrived in her career. Kudos to her. And in the second post, the cashier's stand-up against entitlement was masterfully handled. Definitely a win for customer service and personal boundaries. I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had to stand up for someone or yourself in a tough situation like these? Share your experiences in the comments below. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Voiced. If you enjoyed daily high-quality stories, please like and subscribe to show your support.